There were people there that you really look up to, but they're nothing like the way they appear on TV. One of them was Oprah Winfrey. She's far worse than you could ever imagine. She used me there. She's known as Epstein Bestie.
More people now are more afraid of the devil than they are of God.
So my intention was to make people think I was nice, or allow them to feel that I was nice.
I've caused tremendous harm to myself and others through my decades of and love addiction.
You believe that there are big realms of good and evil, and they're slugging it out.
What does the evil side want?
Oh, it wants you. It wants you. People are capable of horrors, of atrocities. We're also capable of wonderful things, of good things. And we have the choice.
Jim Caviezel, the well-known actor from The Passion of the Christ, is at last revealing the truth to those who, in his opinion, have been deceived for decades. Jim reportedly has proof that connects Oprah Winfrey, the millionaire media mogul, to some of the world's most sinister organizations. The alleged connections to Jeffrey Epstein, which have also been brought up by music mogul Suge Knight, are at the core of this whole problem.
And I personally didn't think he was going to commit suicide. But the thing is, he had from Oprah Winfrey to everybody on that island.
If you were, why would you continue to want to be around the person?
However, we must examine Jim Caviezel's transformation into a digital soldier in order to comprehend how he obtained this proof.
As a machine, the machine can predict when a crime is going to happen. It's through a social security number that shows up randomly. But the whole thing with it is we don't know if they're going to be the victim or the perpetrator.
Over 300,000 children under the ages of 18 were into the deepest recesses of hell, and it's disgusting that the media hasn't covered it like they should.
After portraying Jesus in The Passion of the Christ, Jim Caviezel was already well known. However, he decided to leave the typical Hollywood life behind in order to concentrate on a mission that began with the film Sound of Freedom. Before a Utah-based firm named Angel Studios intervened to save the film and get it into cinemas, it remained secret.
And so he called me, he says, if you do this movie, you may never work in this town again. I don't want to be responsible for that.
It's just a coincidence that many elites in Hollywood and big tech are also some of the harshest critics of the Sound of Freedom movie.
Jim Caviezel did not remain silent throughout that protracted wait. During that time, he gathered further evidence and strengthened his case against those attempting to conceal the film. He discovered that the individuals obstructing the truth were also Jeffrey Epstein's cronies. They were the same individuals that went to Oprah Winfrey's gatherings. At that moment, Jim transitioned from being a well-known actor to participating in the biggest secret war in history.
These children represent God. They're the most innocent and like God, and that's why the devil wants to kill them, wants to hurt them. It's always been this way since Pharaoh, and then to Herod, and to now, but more than ever.
This is hardly a haphazard bunch of crooks. It is a covert Hollywood organization that collaborates behind the scenes to exert power. He claims that this network consists of individuals who manage a worldwide ring and collaborate directly with several A-list celebrities. By dominating the three primary pillars of society, Hollywood, the major news media, and public opinion, these individuals conceal their darker sides. They can do anything because they have power over those three factors, and then they can just order news outlets to label everyone who brings it up as insane. However, the names are known, and the proof is unambiguous.
The reason why it irritates me is because it means that somebody must think I'm lying. That's number one. Number two, why would you want to hide it? That is not the way I run my life.
According to Jim Caviezel's remarks, there are some well-known people who serve as the public faces of this shadow world. This network is set up so that any probe that comes to light is promptly shut down by amiable media executives. Additionally, Oprah Winfrey fits into the jigsaw for just this reason. These assertions indicate that she is an important member of these organizations. She has enormous riches inside the financial elite, widespread popular confidence in the entertainment sector, and solid established ties to prominent individuals, making her a wealthy media hero. Supporters claim that because of her relationships with these celebrities, she is one of the network's most important assets, offering friendly media protection for purportedly sinister acts taking place behind closed doors. In truth, Jim disclosed the dark reality of the elite's demands in an emotional interview.
Essentially, you have the in your body. I'll just simplify it. And when you are scared, you produce the drug.
So Rose McGowan has put Oprah on blast.
He seemingly suggested in the caption that Oprah knew the Hollywood producer was mistreating women.
And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
The problem is that this chemical cannot only be produced for its particular uses in a clean laboratory. The most heinous methods must be used to get it. And although this may seem a bit unsettling, children are made to feel really afraid in order to get this goods. Jim has shown courage by outlining this terrible procedure and disclosing to the public the negative aspects of Oprah's social group.
A child knows he's going to, his body will secrete this, and they have a lot of terms that they use that he takes me through. But
Caviezel claims that the main force behind the illicit international supply chain for minors is the desire for this item. A constant flow of victims is necessary for elites. For this reason, they need a Hollywood social network. For this reason, they operate under the guise of respectable companies and charitable organizations. To transport victims to extraction locations, they need private aircraft and enormous sums of money. And it gets us right to Oprah Winfrey's door. According to Jim Caviezel's information, she is closely connected to the group that makes this whole operation feasible.
Well, because I was trying to calmly leave and not cause a thing. No apologies necessary.
When Oprah's like, stand up and show me your body, show us why you're worthy of being here. That was so not okay.
I speak about that woman because she's spoken about me. And when you begin to speak about me privately, I'm going to speak about you publicly.
The trust of innocent people is the foundation of Oprah Winfrey's alleged false persona. She has been discussing empowerment and healing with her supporters for years, offering advice on how to live healthier lives. However, the data presented by Jim Caviezel and his extensive record of recorded activities provide an entirely different image. It's a rather bleak image, to be honest. In actuality, Oprah has continuously served as a reliable companion and shield for some of the worst guys in contemporary history. The mainstream media has attempted to portray these connections as mere coincidences or regrettable errors. It's common to hear that she just made lousy pals. However, the data clearly demonstrates a pattern of cooperation motivated by self-interest.
There are no wrong paths. There are none.
Let's examine her intimate relationship with infamous movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. He was a well-known predator who harmed several women by abusing his enormous Hollywood influence. This is the problem, however. Harvey couldn't handle this by himself. To create a false feeling of security surrounding his victims, he mostly depended on his public connection with Oprah Winfrey. He must be a decent man if Oprah is acquainted with him, right? However, not in the opinion of the real victims. When Katie and Noble came out to share the unpleasant reality, she said that Harvey had tricked Oprah into returning to his hotel room by having her swing off his arm.
He was with Naomi Campbell, he had Oprah Winfrey there with him, who entered the room and was swinging off his arm and just seemed like a very dear friend. And Georgina, they all sat at his table. And for me, meeting Oprah was like, oh my God, I would have thought that I would have to be someone who's established, who everyone would have had to know about before I was privileged enough to meet someone like Oprah.
Oprah did what all members of the hidden network do when Weinstein's misdeeds were eventually made public. She made a hasty attempt to avoid the issue and change the focus of the narrative from her personal participation to a larger societal problem.
I think this is a watershed moment. And if we make this just about Harvey Weinstein, then we will have lost this moment.
This was obviously an effort to prevent exposure of the larger network. If people concentrate too much on Harvey Weinstein, they may discover that he is related to all other influential individuals. Industry insiders, however, were well aware of the truth. On social media, musician Seal openly criticized Oprah. He shared this photo of her kissing Harvey Weinstein on the cheek on Instagram. You have been contributing to the issue for decades, but all of a sudden they believe you are the solution, Seal said straight to her. Oh, I forgot. Yes, exactly. You had heard the whispers, but you were unaware that he was really abusing young, attractive actresses on a regular basis. Harvey Weinstein is not the last person in this pattern of standing next to influential people. Diddy and Oprah have also been close. She often went to his well-known parties. And we can learn a lot from this. Her presence is often documented whenever there is a center of the elite. These are not errors. These are an elite group member's regular operating procedures. Her role is to provide operators legitimacy and amiable cover for their illicit actions. Customers are distracted from the ugliness that lurks inside her circle by the dazzling lights of her television programs. She is one of the network's most valuable assets due to her enormous riches and widespread trust. The ultimate Hollywood shield is her.
Federal judge immediately rejected a defense request for a mistrial in the trafficking trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs.
The clearest piece of evidence that Caviezel had uncovered was the direct connection between Jeffrey Epstein and Oprah Winfrey. The problem is that Epstein was the network's main source for extortion and a convicted criminal. We are well aware that he operated a big illicit network from his own island. Little St. James was the name of Little American Island, Virgin Islands. The world's elite could fly in and participate in the most heinous atrocities without worrying about the authorities, since the location was well guarded. However, Epstein wasn't operating in isolation. Jim Caviezel's revelations provided him with funding and protection. He collaborated closely with Ghislaine Maxwell, who ultimately received a 20-year federal jail term for recruiting underage girls and engaging in human trafficking. And Epstein needed a steady flow of victims and money to run this enterprise. The data shows that Oprah Winfrey and Epstein's island are directly related. Flight tracking information and hard facts show that her private plane was physically present on Epstein's island 11 times. Additionally, there are 5 references to her in the files. The raw data maintained by the truth seekers is unchangeable, despite attempts by major media sources and their fact-checkers to conceal this, saying the island does not even have an airfield. It is just not possible to write off 11 different flights to the most infamous hub in the world as a scheduling issue. This enormous frequency of travel demonstrates Oprah and Epstein's close working connection. Oprah is allegedly a member of the Epstein network on paper, in addition to the flight records. The court-released Epstein docs mention her 5 times. The network is in a state of extreme fear as a result of the exposure of these materials. The names are leaking out, and the walls are starting to collapse.
Epstein killed himself.
And Maxwell got convicted without any of the end users being identified, which is impossible.
The followers of this movement are already aware that Jim Caviezel and his group have the evidence. These monsters have more than just Oprah Winfrey as a buddy. She was an invaluable resource. If her luxury island vacations aren't enough, we also need to examine how she manages her purported charity school, since there is where the evidence becomes even more sinister.
There have been reports all over the years of some maltreatment and abuse happening in Oprah Winfrey's school, and of course her name is connected to it because it's under her leadership.
Many fan groups think that prominent elites run covert networks that are concealed by international organizations, charities, and celebrity foundations. Oprah is perhaps one of the most well-known figures often brought up in these conversations, particularly in light of her Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa. In 2007, the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls was established in the vicinity of Johannesburg, South Africa. It attracted a lot of media attention at the time, and was portrayed as a chance for underprivileged girls to change their lives. However, the Academy's scandal throughout the years provided a lot of conversation starters.
Shortly after the school opened, a matron of the school was charged with touching several of the girls in a very inappropriate manner.
The matron was accused of mistreating pupils, according to records from the school's early years. The case hurt the school's image and made headlines throughout the world. The worst part, however, was that Oprah thanked parents who decided to pull their kids out of school while publicly addressing the issue.
Are welcome. I bless you in removing your child from the school because my number one priority is the safety and well-being.
These arguments suggest that the facility was involved in more extensive activities related to Epstein's network. Some have even connected the school to reports of missing children in Africa, highlighting more significant worldwide problems in many nations. These assertions often make reference to significant occurrences like the Nigerian schoolgirl tragedy in 2014. The originator of Operation Underground Railroad, Tim Ballard, gained notoriety for carrying out covert operations to combat child trafficking.
We live in a fake society, Hoda, and I have waxed poetic and become a bit of a militant about the cosmeceutical industry that are feeding young people, unfortunately, that you can do something to change the way you look when you can't. That's just not what you want to do when you're 25 or 26. And I regretted it immediately and have kind of sort of regretted it since.
Oprah Winfrey and her cronies in the entertainment sector create the false standards for beauty, and Jamie Lee Curtis has determined to expose them.
She's a woman who's not loved. She's a woman who uses her power in her job to control people because she has no love in her life.
Jamie did more than just condemn these unrealistic ideals of beauty in a string of interviews that stunned the entertainment industry. She termed it genocide. Not only did Jamie Lee target specific celebrities, but she also shamed the industry titans responsible for peddling the illusion of flawless beauty. Plus, the lady she is yelling out to right now is the biggest deal.
Their circumstances of their life are diametrically different than mine. The industry that they were raised in and worked in is completely different than the industry I work in.
I think about surpassing my parents, which I have, emotionally. I've surpassed my parents with sobriety. My mother was restricted by what the industry wanted from her and expected from her and would allow from her.
Oprah Winfrey has been portrayed for many years as a wise lady who speaks her mind. The belief that one may always achieve their ideal body type was a cornerstone of Oprah's business. One of the most memorable moments in talk show history occurred in 1988, when, to commemorate her weight loss via self-discipline, she displayed 67 pounds of animal fat on live air. But here's what Oprah never told you. She was selling you a tale that even she couldn't live.
And I just want people to stop blaming themselves and shaming themselves because it's not about willpower.
Now, decades later, she has a new message. She claims obesity is caused by genes, not decisions. She's advertising weight loss medicine and wailing on TV about how she could weep for all the days she hated herself.
All these years, I thought I was overeating. I was standing there with all the food noise, what I ate, what I should eat, how many calories was that, how long was it going to take. I thought that that was because of me and my fault. Now I understand that if you carry the obesity gene, if that is what you have, that is what makes you overeat. You don't overeat and become obese. Obesity causes you to overeat. Obesity causes you to have all of that food noise. And what the GLP-1s have done for me, and I know a number of other people, is to quiet that noise.
She realizes that Oprah isn't delivering the truth. She's peddling a new product now, the victim story, the medical answer, the concept that you can't trust your own body, that you need something outside yourself to repair you.
I remember doing a show many years ago, and Janet Jackson was on it and lost weight, and I said, if there's ever a pill, I will be the first one to tell you about it. And so now there actually is a pill, but more importantly than a pill is understanding that obesity is a disease. And if you have this chronic disease, it is not because you are overeating, it's because you have the disease that causes you to overeat. And I did not know this until 2023.
Oprah has spent 40 years telling women they're broken. First, she told them they weren't working hard enough. Now, she's telling them they can't repair themselves without drugs. Either way, the message is, the body is faulty. You need us to repair it. But this time, fans are not buying her thoughts. One person remarked, this victim mentality needs to stop. It's not benefiting anybody. People need to learn that decisions have repercussions, so pick wisely. Another added, it's so weird how her tune has changed. Oprah resigned away from the board of Weight Watchers in February 2024 because she wanted to promote GLP-1s. Now she claims obesity is caused by obesity genes. I wonder how much money she stands to gain marketing this narrative. In case you all don't know, Oprah has been open about using GLP-1 injections since 2023. She claims she'll be on them for life. She's also noted the medicine has reduced the continual mental chatter over what to eat, when to eat, and if she should eat. For the first time, she claims her brain is silent.
So now I realize that I'm on the medications and will have to be on the medications if I want to for the rest of my life.
What Jamie Lee has seen, what she has been through, and what she's now fighting against is not simply about vanity or beauty standards. It's about something far darker. She feels that, because to the bogus narrative spread by Oprah and the business, a whole generation of genuine beauty is being wiped forever. Because that's the reality nobody wants you to understand. The anti-aging business isn't anti-aging at all. It's anti-human, and it's been propped up by voices like Oprah's for decades.
I have a nice figure. I can't, hide it, that I have a nice figure, and I've used it, hopefully, mostly in humor. Very rarely do you find a movie that I've done where the whole body, physical side of me is used in a kind of serious, dark way.
Jamie Lee Curtis is the first A-list star strong enough and furious enough to say it out loud. And what she's presenting goes even deeper. She's blowing the lid off a system that includes Oprah Winfrey, Hollywood's elite, and a multi-billion-dollar machine meant to make every woman feel like she's not good enough.
When you're pregnant, people are like, don't use any of the things you use when you're not pregnant because it's all poison. And you're like, what? Only when you're hosting a parasite can you treat yourself well? It just seems a little messed up.
So to understand why Jamie Lee is ringing sirens that Hollywood would prefer quiet, we need to journey back to a period when the studio system didn't just possess actors' contracts. It owned their faces.
I became very aware of the dangers of what goes on around the world with children. And a lot of the agents I worked with over the time had mentioned and talked about and how really bad this actually is.
I believe Oprah and her cronies are in a panic because of this. This movement is beyond their control. It's Jim and other whistleblowers that make the connections. Fans are aware of the important details. Oprah's relationships with Diddy and Harvey Weinstein only demonstrate that she is already present wherever the elite center is. Jim Caviezel was correct all along, as shown by the Epstein trial records that are now being made public and generating widespread terror inside the network. What are your thoughts?